Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I hope you're doing super duper fantastic. I'm pretty good. About to go on vacation, so hey, I mean, as far as like work goes, I am on vacation, but yeah, we're hitting the road. That's gonna be fun. So, I wanted to do a video though about it. Well, I'm going to talk about Rupert Sheldrake and the Morphic Fields and how all is connected. But I don't know if you'd call it an analogy or what, but it's about emotion, okay? And it's like if the E represents energy, then it's energy and motion, which is emotion. And I think that that is really fascinating. It's a it's a fantastic way to look at emotion because it is, in fact, energy in motion. Because anytime we project anything, the more emotion that is behind it, that means the more energy is going to be dedicated to it. That kind of thing. But you know how when you feel things as they're going to, like you feel things that, and there's no way that you could have known it was about to happen. You feel that something's about to happen. I mean, it could be something as simple as a song pops into your head, or you just spontaneously begin humming a tune, and then you turn on the radio or a TV or whatever, and there it is. There's that song. That happens a lot. It happens to a lot of people a lot. And yes, you could say, okay, well, that was a coincidence. I, for one, don't believe in coincidence, but fine, whatever. You want to go that way? Let's go that way. You can say it was a coincidence. But at some point, excuse me, at some point, it's like, yeah, too many coincidences pretty much mean there's no coincidence, right? So, and that's just one small example. I mean, there are many. Like another one that is very common is if you think of someone and seconds later they call you on the phone. It's those things happen quite frequently as well. It happens to all of us. You might think of someone, and this could also be someone that you don't talk to on a regular basis. Because I know that a lot of skeptics will say, well, yeah, but you've said somebody that you talk to every day. I mean, that's not that far fetched. True. But this happens with people that we haven't talked to in a long time, or infrequently at least, right? And another good example, this isn't necessarily common with a lot of us, but it is an example that most people are familiar with regards to like twins. People who are born as twins. Now, they may be separated by miles, many miles, could be separated even by oceans. And if something happens to one, the other instantly knows it. Now, usually it has to be something that is, I don't want to say traumatic, but it does have to be something that would be emotionally charged, something that creates a lot of energy and motion, something that would definitely cause a ripple in the field, in that connection between the two twins. For example, there is a story that's told in the book, A Holographic Universe, about these two twins. Now, one of them wanted to go stay with grandma. The other one decided to stay home with mom. And they were separated by a pretty decent distance. One of the twins was burned on a hot stove or something. I can't remember exactly. But one of the two twins was burned on a hot stove. And the other one instantly felt that pain in the exact same part of her body where her twin had been burned. Now, it gets even deeper. Not only did the twin who was not burned feel the pain instantly of the one who was burned, but she also developed a mark on her skin in the same place where her twin just received a burn. That is unbelievably fascinating. That is something that it's like, okay, well, it proves something. And I'm getting to that, dear loved one. I'm getting to it. Hey, by the way, since we're on the subject, because we're not, if you would, please give me a like on this video. I would greatly appreciate that. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, which will be renamed in the very near future, I still haven't decided yet. But if you would please subscribe to the channel, I would so appreciate that as well. But another Speaking, I mentioned Rupert Sheldrake, and he is a fascinating person by himself. He started out as a biologist, but he really began studying very deeply what he termed as morphic fields. Now, in ancient Hindu, they called something very similar to that prana, which prana is the energy that permeates all of creation, permeates the universe. And they place a lot of emphasis on that. For example, like they do the pranayama breathing, which is a breathing technique which increases the level of prana, which is that energy, the ether, the energy that flows through the universe, increases that in their body. But anyway, so another study that Rupert Sheldrake had done was on pets and how pets know when their owner is coming home. Now, I realize again, skeptics could say things like, well, yeah, I mean, if their owner is coming home from work, it's on schedule, they get used to it. That's not hard to explain. However, Rupert Sheldrake understood that. He's a very intelligent man. He knew that was going to be that could very well be the case. So what he did was they installed cameras in a family home. And they had the lady of the house, I guess, they had her leave, and then at very randomized times, he would instruct her to go home. So she would be wherever, and not even knowing when she was going to be instructed to go home. Sheldrake would tell her, "Okay, go home now." So she would then proceed to go home. Now the cameras in the home showed where the dog was very in tune with the owner, and as soon as she began heading home, this dog knew it, would go to the window and wait. And this is what this dog would do every single time the owner of the home, or his owner, I suppose, or her owner. I'm sorry, loved one, you know me. The dog's owner. So when the dog's owner would be instructed randomly to go home, the dog somehow knew and would go to the window and wait. That's fascinating because it's like, how would the dog know that? But that when we get into the whole morphic fields, that explains those things a lot better. And another way that morphic fields, just like the prana, or not just like it, but very similar to it. But morphic fields are the connection between all things. We are all in like a big soup of morphic field. And I am connected to you through it. You're connected to your dog through it, and so on and so forth. Everything is connected. So communication through these morphic fields is not only possible, but it happens quite often. The thing about it is, though, you do have a sender and a receiver. Now, the sender must have a strong signal, I guess. Signal, just like with a telephone. It must have a strong signal. And it's like, well, what is a strong signal if we are communicating telepathically? And that is what we are talking about, a telepathic communication. But there is some people say pseudoscience. Okay. But there is an explanation behind this. It's that the two people, the sender and the receiver, are connected through the morphic field. So, but the signal strength must be pretty good. How does that happen? The signal strength is basically determined by the intention of the sender. Do they have a pure intent to send a signal to this other person? And also, it's based on the emotional importance. And as I mentioned before, emotion, energy, and motion. So it has to have some emotional significance. If you're just telling someone, I need a napkin, well, that may or may not be something that's significant enough to cause that energy and motion, to cause that ripple to reach the receiver. Also, the receiver has to be open to the possibility. The receiver has to be open to the possibility that this type of communication can and does happen. So they have to be, and also sensitive to those messages. We can all be sensitive to it, but we can't be if we don't believe it's possible to happen anyway. So if you have a sender who has a pure intent, I want to make this communication to this particular person. And then and it's something with an emotional charge to it. This is important to me. This has a lot of meaning. I want this to be expressed to this receiver. And then the receiver on the other end believes that this kind of communication has happened and is sensitive and open to that type of communication. Then that message will probably be transmitted through the morphic field, which both of these people and everyone is connected through. So, what does all this show us? What does it prove? Does it prove anything? I guess it depends on where you're coming from. It's just like with anything else. If we are looking for something, we're probably going to find it. It's like most people go to religious texts and they are looking for either justification for their belief. Well, it's justification. Most people go to a religious text looking for justification of their belief, whether it's positive or negative. That's what I was trying to get at. So it's like I've seen people who absolutely are 100% rooted in their beliefs that they are strictly materialist, have no belief system in anything spiritual, but they will go to the Bible, they'll go to the Christian Bible or whatever, and they will be looking for ways to prove that they're right or ways to disprove that spiritual people are wrong. And the same thing goes for the other side. People who read the Bible and try to strengthen, they say they're strengthening their faith. I got to believe they're not necessarily strengthening their faith as much as they are looking for justification for their faith. Now, that's kind of getting off the subject a little bit. But what I mean is there are people who believe these types of things can happen. And there are people that who don't. And if you look for reasons to believe that something is not possible, well, you're probably going to find it. Same thing goes for the other way. If you look for reasons to believe that it is possible, meaning you're open to it, then you're probably going to be more susceptible to having these kind of experiences. So all is connected, but it must be tapped into. You got to believe it can happen. If you don't believe that this is possible, then it's probably not going to happen for you. Because for a couple of reasons. One, you're not open to the possibility. And two, you're too busy looking for justification for believing that you don't believe in it. Or that it doesn't exist. So these types of communications, this morphic field, a lot of people call it a pseudoscience. Probably, a lot of people still do. But see, I'm on the other side of that. I think it's fascinating. I totally believe that it exists. And I have experienced it in my life. I have communicated telepathically. And it worked. But I'm fully aware of the fact that I know I'm convinced that it works. I put out a clear signal with pure intention, and I also it was an emotionally charged signal. The person that I was sending it to is also very open to this type of philosophy. So if we run into people who don't share our beliefs, who think, yeah, none of that happens, I just want to encourage you to not be discouraged, to be like, well, that's how we are all kind of on our own path. We are all where we are, and that's fine. Every experience, as I've said before, every experience is going to be had. And also, the pendulum does swing. In order for there to be this, there must be this. So, and I said because I've seen a lot of people get very discouraged and maybe even not explore their beliefs, maybe not even explore spirituality or morphic fields because of maybe they've been shamed into not doing that kind of thing. So I'm like, look, in order for you to explore to this extent, the opposite has to be there. So when you see somebody with some completely polar opposite belief, hey, that's good. That lets you know that you can go that far to this side. There's always the balance. There's the yin and the yang. So anyway, loved ones, I just wanted to get that out because Rupert Sheldrake is a fascinating guy, and his research was very fascinating, very much so. And morphic fields, while that's a little bit more of a modern word, I guess, or modern term. It's not an or it's not a new concept. It's actually a very old concept. It's the concept of prana. So there's that. Anyway, loved ones, if you would please hit the like button for this video if you have not yet done so. Also, subscribe to this channel. And yes, I'm going to rename it from Matt Stevens to something else. I haven't figured that out yet. If you have any suggestions, I would be more than happy to hear them. But yeah, loved ones, that's what I got. I do love you, and I'll be back directly.